All right.
Let us know what
Whoa.
grades we are.
My 9th graders who just finished your essay on Of Mice and Men. It's over. Don't have to write about George and Lenny anymore. I know you're so excited. Me too. So our due now, I'm going to give you a minute and a half to take this. Can I have someone read right here? This that is in quotations. Please.
It was a wrong number that started it. The telephone ringing 3 times in the dead of night, and the voice on the other end asking for someone he was not.
All right, so in 2 to 3 sentences, I want you to continue the story. Just for fun, I found a little post that a darling Dipsy Doodle that was little wrote. He said, when I write, I feel like I'm free on a high mountain. When I write, I can tell what I'm feeling and what I'm thinking. You can also get your mind off of what you're frustrated about. You can also put down your thoughts and your ideas. There are so many things that you could write about and so many different things, places, is what you do. So let's take a little bit of time. I want 2 to 3 sentences. Continue this story. It can be about absolutely anything you would want it to be. And I'm going to hand out what our activities can be. Have fun. If you're a big beef, don't be alone. So what I'm handing out, just ignore it, leave it on your table. We're going to do it later. Did I skip anyone with the little slip? If I did, just call me over. Alright, take about another 30 seconds. Alright, so pause where you are there. Is anyone absolutely burning to get out their 2 or 3 sentences? Or can you hold it in? If you really want to let it out, you can. No? Alright. Oh, it is down. Good to know. So our goals in our agenda for today, our goal is to be able to understand the use of figurative language for storytelling and to practice our own creation of figurative language in stories. So I know that our essay on Of Mice and Men was very analytical. It was A, B, C, you're copying over evidence, you don't get to be too creative. But coming up, we got to be really creative. So this is where we're going to try to get those juices flowing. So our agenda, we're going to review our different types of writing. We're going to review our figurative language. We're going to do a little bit of practice, and then we're going to do it in action, okay? Awesome. So our different types of writing. Can I have someone read this first prompt? Just shout it out, it doesn't matter.
Expository, informative, explains topic to reader.
And we have some examples of that. So we have like info pages or instructions, like you get a new computer and it's like, this is how to set up Google Docs. Someone for persuasive?
Explains the stance of the author, attempts to influence the reader.
So for this, I personally find this one a little tricky to give hard examples of. Whenever I think about it in like political writings to government officials or briefings of, here is what I want to get across to you, this is what I want you to do about it. But there's plenty of other, if you have them, jot it down, make a note of it, just so you know how you can remember the persuasive. And then for the next 2, that's heavier than you would think.
Oh, sorry.
No, we're good. That actually might be confusing for you. Alright, so for these 2, because these are the 2 that we use a lot. So, can I have someone just read what descriptive is? Hang on. Doesn't
uses visual and descriptive words to allow for the reader to imagine the person, place, or thing being written about.
Okay, so for our examples here, can someone give me some examples? Like when you think of descriptive writing, what would you put in this category? You can popcorn, you can just yell at me. It's okay.
Full of imagery.
So we got imagery. Spelt that wrong. Anything else?
Poetry.
Poetry. Ooh, I like that one. How about two more?
Descriptions?
Can you
Oh,
clarify
this is
a little bit?
No, yeah, I didn't realize it's called description.
Because we want to be able to prompt our understanding of descriptive writing with something other than descriptions, because then we might just get stuck in a.
Like size and color.
So what are size and
Big
color?
green hat. You know what I mean?
What are those though?
Adjectives.
Adjectives. It helps us remember. It doesn't work. One more. Give me anything.
Short stories.
Short stories. So short stories is actually the perfect segue. It's like I planted you. For the final one. So it's going to be a little tricky because it's way down at the bottom. So I'll read it. It's narrative writing, which is what we're really used to reading. The straightforward telling of a story, either in fact or fiction. It's not going to, right? Because it won't. But what are some examples of that? What book did we just read? Pretend.
Mice and Men.
Oh, Mice and Men, thank you. And what book are we about to read? Black Boy, yes. So that is also a narrative story. So we are most used to seeing those narrative structures. But do you think narrative structures can use descriptive writing? Yeah. All right. So we're going to fly through our review of figurative language, because we also have it posted on the wall over here, and you have it in your folder in your handout. So we have our metaphor. Can someone read the examples of it?
Her eyes were the ocean, blue and mysterious. His tears were rivers flowing down his cheeks.
So what are we not using there?
Like or as.
What about a simile? We have our two examples. Can I have someone else read our two examples, please?
She is as strong as an ox. The child's laugh was haunting like a screaming banshee.
And what do we have there?
Like an ass.
Like an ass. Personification. Can someone read our two examples? Oh, no, stop that. Our two examples? Not Connor or Rachel.
Lightning danced across the sky. The last piece of pie was calling Mrs. Dotterty's name.
Oxymoron. We've got. This is nice, short and sweet.
Jumbo shrimp. Pretty ugly. Only choice.
So I know that we have more figurative language. These are the ones that we're going to be working with today. So this is what I'm going to leave on the board when we do our activity. But if we have bang, who remembers what that is?
Onomatopoeia.
Onomatopoeia. And if we have she sells seashells by the seashore, what's that? Alliteration. We didn't forget. All right, so we're going to take 3 minutes to practice. I want you to write one simile, one metaphor, one personification, and one oxymoron. If you need here are some words that you can pull from if you're not in the creative zone. So take about a minute. Do it somewhere where you have easy access to it, please. Timer. You can talk to your friends. Brainstorm. Alright, so can I have one person share out their oxymoron?
Military intelligence.
Touche.
Well, you know,
Alright. Gibbons, what were you gonna say? I saw your hand.
Oh, I need an icy hot for my knee.
Icy hot, why is that an oxymoron? Because ice can't be hot. Alright, what about a metaphor? Can I have someone share the metaphor that they wrote?
Cotton candy sky.
One more time.
Cotton candy sky.
A cotton candy sky. Why would that be a metaphor?
Because I'm describing the blues and the pinks in the sky without saying it looked like cotton candy.
Perfect. How about a personification? This one's a little tricky.
The curtains danced in the wind.
The curtains
The curtains can't dance.
And what was our last one? A simile. A nice and easy one because you have two helping words there.
I ran like a cheetah.
Running like a cheetah. All right. So get ready to move. I know, it's great. So on that little sheet of that little bitty slip of paper I gave you, you have a number. It should be 1 through 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. Which Miss Kathleen miscounted. There's only 5 tables. So can I have the ones up here, please? And then the 2s, the 3s, the 4s, the 5s. And then the 6s, join a group. Like, ignore yours and just join one of the other groups. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then if I can have my 6s dispersed, please.
Yeah, right?
And once you're all ready, can you just look up at me for a quick second? So I know that we're ready to go. Alright. Nope, no. Okay. So this is just, so if you don't want to look at me while I'm giving you instructions, you can have something. So for this next exercise, you are going to take that sheet of paper, and that's going to be the first sentence of the story you're going to create. So if you really want to know where they came from, you can flip to the back. They're famous first lines from different pieces of literature. So you can brainstorm with your group on one of the whiteboards with expo markers if you want. You can do it individually, but you're going to take like 2 minutes to do it by yourself and then bring it back in again. I did that wrong. You, for 2 minutes by yourself, are going to brainstorm what type of story you would want to create with this prompt. So, for example, if one of them, let me find a 6. Perfect. So I have a number 6. Mine is, he was born with a gift of laughter and a sense that the world was mad. So I need to come up with a story, and I need to write 4 to 6 sentences about this story. How many sentences do I need to write?
4 to 6.
4 to 6. What do you guys think I'm going to ask you to put in those 4 to 6 sentences? What did we just go over?
Figurative.
Yeah, we're going to do our figurative language, okay? So I'll put back up I can either put up the word cloud if you want words to prompt you, or the definitions if you want the definitions. So in 4 to 6 sentences, you're going to create a story with this prompt. So for 2 minutes, do it individually. Try to get as much on a piece of paper as you can, be creative, and then we're going to come back together. Was that 10 minutes? You guys have to do You're brainstorming by yourself first for what your 4 to 6 sentences would be. If you can just go straight into writing it, have fun, have at it. But you would go back and do it together.
Can you put the time back up, please? Like, we're pretty exceptional individuals, so we can just go straight to writing.
I'm afraid so. Oh wait, no, you wanted the examples, right? Sorry.
That's great. Thank you.
think that was 10 minutes, right?
We're not doing it?
I mean, I would love for you to, but I don't know if I'm taking up too much content.
You need to be wrapping it up at some point. Soon.
I would just take a
Relatively soon.
All right, take another minute, brainstorm by yourself. I'll expedite a little bit. You guys are very smart 9th graders.
That's what I said.
Are there any questions about any of the words in your prompts? I know that they're a little old-timey, maybe they're stories you haven't read before, you need some clarification.
Oh,
My brain immediately went to like hitting each other.
that's
But
what
they're trying not to
Yeah.
go into that direction.
I was thinking.
Well, they could be
I-
hitting
I'm
the
a-
flowers, they could be hitting the basketball.
Yes. You have to have a
Hitting the-
9th grade mind.
Yeah, I went to baseball.
Okay. So we'll make a story out of this. Baseball bats. The crack of the baseball bats. That's on my idea.
All right, so I see that bunch of people have got some great examples of figurative language down. I just want to ask really quickly before we bring it into the group to work as a group. When you are reading a story, what are some things you want to know? So, for example, Frank, what's your favorite movie or book? Make it like an anchor.
I don't know, what did we just read? Like The Great Gatsby.
So The Great Gatsby, and you all have read The Great Gatsby as a group. So if I wanted to know about The Great Gatsby, would I want to know, sorry. What do I want to know about The Great Gatsby?
What's so great about him?
What's so great about him? So him would be,
Gatsby,
and Gatsby is a
guy.
Character.
character,
Oh.
right? So we want to know about our characters. Right. So you want to think about, are you describing your characters in these 4 to 6 sentences? Are you even introducing them yet? Because what could we know before we even meet our characters?
Setting.
Settings. Can we use figurative language to describe setting?
Yeah.
Sure.
Can someone give me an example of a, maybe a personification about setting?
It was warm like in, no, never mind.
Yeah.
Nope. I'm bad at personification. I don't know why it's in my mouth.
The wind was howling in the winter night.
The wind was howling in the winter night. Can the wind howl? No. So maybe one other thing, because it's still the beginning. It's 4 to 6 sentences, right? So we could know setting, we could know characters.
Probably
Anything
want
else?
a little bit of backstory or exposition.
Backstory and exposition. What's exposition mean?
Expository writing, it explains something.
So it's setting us up, right? Exposition. Alright, so think about those things. Take about another minute. Try to come up with the best 4 to 6 sentences you can. If you get it, you get extra credit in my heart. You can be as a group now. So, share your ideas, see if someone had a great simile that you want to steal.
Remember that the newly liberated children to the warm spring day.
Wow. Alright. That was good.
Your head is down.
I just wrote drama, because it was a dramatic sense.
It is as hot as an oven in front of the neighborhood.
It is so-
It's very warm.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm.
Yeah.
Oh, then I said I was bad.
Yeah.
With the first sounds of spring. That's when you play baseball, right?
It's intriguing.
No, no.
Oh, no, so we were supposed to come up with like sentences, like as if we were like continuing the story.
Right. The music.
Frank, you're killing me.
Yeah,
So-and-so was bittersweet.
The eye.
Alright, so I'm gonna give you about 1 more minute. And then do I have anyone that would like to volunteer what their story is?
Yeah?
You're gonna volunteer? Just you or your group?
Just me.
Just you? Alright, so I have 1. I will take up to 3. If anyone's burning and they need to get it out. 2? 3. Alright, so I'll give you 2 more minutes and then D, I'll have you go last, okay? Perfect. Thank you.
Lasers watching a picture.
By 2 minutes, I really mean like 45 seconds.
Oh.
Her eyes laser while watching the
I like yours.
Now we have great.
Story!
I think
It's okay. I forgot how to spell suspicious the other day.
Alright.
I was like, suspicious.
I was talking to my mom trying to say familiarity.
Oh, by the way, sorry. On the back, it just has the author's first name, and then I was shorthanding what it is. So if you have Faulkner, it is not just sound. It is the sound and the fury, but I didn't want to write the whole thing out. Alright, so Gibbons is up first. Do you want to do it from your seat? Do you want to stand up? Up to you.
I'll do it for my suit.
Alright. Get out of your spot.
People know what you.
Alright, so can you tell us what your opening line was, and then just go straight into it?
Mother died today. It was as sad as a rainy day. My heart ached with pain like a spear went through it. Judy was her name. I remember on her free time, she spent hours singing to the flowers in the backyard. Like her children, she catered to them with love and care.
Thank you. That was awesome. Can we get a round of applause for Gibbons, please? Alright, now I do last, so Micah is up next.
Sure.
Correct. Do you want to do it from your seat? Do you want to stand up? However you want to. Up to you.
From my seat, that's okay. I also had the starting line, Mother died today. Mother died today. You should have seen the strong fragility in her arthritic knees as she ascended the tightrope. The wind, blowing like a child might at candles, sent her straw-white hair whirling. She started walking between the buildings, oblivious to the grease awaiting her bare feet. The crowd of jackals jeered when she first started to stumble.
Oh.
Alright, round of applause. Thank you.
I don't want to go anymore.
Yes, you did. So great. And it's a whole new prompt, so I don't know anything about it.
That's true. Okay. Y'all want to read it?
And is the first sentence on there your first prompt? Awesome, thank you.
In the late summer of that year, we lived in a house in a village that looked across the river and plain to the mountains. The house was really more of a cabin, which was heated by an old wooden stove. The flames danced in the belly of the stove, and their warmth, this is supposed to be filled the kitchen and living room. Wild geese glided across the surface of the river, creating ripples like the sheets of my bed being replaced after laundry day. The mountains were dwarfed by the endless stretch of sky.
Awesome, thank you. So I'm going to end there.